Hey, I made a video earlier today about authority, and I was talking about how I don't stand in my authority, and it shows with my dog, right? So my dog runs me when I don't maintain my place of authority. And I was listening and chatting with a few people about this, and what came to me was kind of to try to understand what I mean by authority and the difference between masculine authority and feminine authority. Now, I want to start off by saying that I do believe we have both within us. These two polarities are both within us, and it's important that we all, men and women, embrace both, nurture both, and cultivate our expression of both in our lives. So to me, and I'm holding my phone because I'm acting on impulse. I probably should have set up my tripod so the phone wouldn't be dancing around, but sorry. So masculine authority for me is our ability to stand firm in the outside world with things that are happening in the outside world in an active way. Ooh, this is hard, actually. So I don't know. If you have a different opinion, please make sure you share that with me. I'd love to hear your perspective. But this is what I mean by masculine authority. We think about God, the Father, right? God the Father. And the Father image is the head of household. He is strong, stern, logical, reasoning, putting logic and reason, and fully aware of that. Book smart. To be an authority in your field usually means that you have studied a lot of something, and either you've gotten a piece of paper that says, hey, I'm an authority, or you've not. I know there are a lot of people out there who are authorities but never graduated from college, but either way, your authority in the masculine form can... God, is it measurable? I'm so sorry that I don't have a more clear answer. I would love your feedback on this. So I'm doing the contrasting thing so that I can talk, so I can illustrate. So the feminine authority, I believe, is more our wild, instinctual nature, our feeling nature, our sensuality. And I feel like both masculine authority and feminine authority are equally balanced, or there's the potential to be. One might be stronger in us as individuals than the other. Or, for example, we have a male president who is the highest authority in our of the United States, so that it feels like it feels like the leadership of our country is more patriarchal, masculine authority. The church, like the Christian churches that I know about, seem to be also based on masculine authority, the patriarchy. And feminine authority were maybe some of the earlier churches and religions and religious practices. Feminine authority. Connected to the earth, using intuition, using your feeling nature, intuiting rather than thinking, allowing rather than making something happen. In tarot, we have two different cards, the Emperor and the Empress. The Emperor usually represents father, and he's a warrior who goes directly for the things that he desires. He's on like, some of the key words for the Emperor could be war making, directness. The sign of Aries is associated with the Emperor. And the Empress is usually represented by a pregnant woman, creative, fertile, of the land, abundant. Nature is not directed by anything, but she just grows, and she has her own order that comes from within. And she's shaped more by the other things that are around her. It doesn't mean that she's not an authority. Mother Nature is an authority. But it means that her authority is defined more by her ability to change and be flexible and to move and maintain integrity. Maybe that's the through line of what authority is. Authority is where do you maintain the integrity most? So many people are very logical, so their integrity, their authority comes from being logical, basing things on logic, reasoning, books, science, mathematics, cold, hard facts, the facts, the facts, the facts. That's from where they draw their authority. Feminine authority is more about, I feel, I am, your way of being as opposed to doing. It's very interesting. So in this other video, I talked about how I had met this man, and he had these two dogs, and he was really just the leader of his pack. And we were talking about, I'm like, how do you become the leader of your pack is basically what I said to him. And he said, you have to be really in your authority. And he's like, yeah, I noticed that a lot of women have a hard time with this. You all tend to be more tender and nurturing. And with dogs, you can't do that. You have to always be the boss and be the leader. And I know that there are different ways of doing that. There are ways that you can be really aggressive with your dog and bully him, and that's one way to maintain your authority. And I don't know that he did that, and he didn't suggest that that's what I have to do. But he says you do have to be strong and you have to be firm. Now, what I've learned about training dogs is that you have to also be consistent. And one of the things about divine feminine authority is that you are not always consistent because you are going with the flow. So a tree grows upward and it bends and sways with the breeze. That's the feminine nature, bending and swaying with the trees. With the breeze, yeah? With the wind. The thing is, when you're training a dog, I've noticed with a polo especially, when I have a rhythm, we're going out, we're going to do this, we come back, we do that. He's much more manageable. So now we have integrity, being true to your, like aligned with either your rationale or your feeling. That's one aspect. But then there's also, I think, that consistency and doing things maybe by the book is a little bit more masculine as opposed to being more feminine, where we're following our heart and we're doing what we feel. I'm very feminine in that way, in that, I'm in Zagreb, Croatia, And if you had asked me a year and a half ago anything about, like, where is Zagreb? Do you know anything about Zagreb? I would have been like, yeah, is that in the Middle East? What, that sounds something that sounds very exotic. Zagreb. That must be what, North Africa? In other words, I had no idea of where Zagreb was, but I'm committed to following my heart. So when I was led to Zagreb, I said, I felt, does this feel right? Does this feel good? It felt really right. It felt really good. There was no logic to it. And so I came. And I've been here for a year and just over a year. And in April of this year, so just 2 months ago, I got the feeling of it's time to move to Italy. And I'm like, all right, feeling nature. I'm like, are you sure? Checking my feeling nature. And yes, my feeling nature was true, was like very loudly like, yes. And so now I'm moving to Florence, Italy. Even going to Greece, I have this strong impulse to go to Greece. No logic to it whatsoever. I tried to create logic around it, but I wasn't able to create logic around it. I could only go by my feeling nature. And asking my tarot cards, why am I going to Greece? And they always said partnership, the Two of Cups. Partnership, love, creativity, and partnership. Sure enough, I get there. I'm in Greece for all of a week. And little Apollo comes into my life. And now I have a new partner. Had no intention of having a dog. Never even thought I could invite a dog to this lifestyle I have of travel. But Spirit was very loudly like, this is your dog. And sure enough, it has been an absolute pleasure being with him and learning about the very thing about which I'm speaking. You're following your intuition. This is so feminine. And again, I tell people ask me, so why did you come here? How did you choose Zagreb? And I say, following my heart. I don't even try to really explain it anymore because people either get it or they don't, like just following your intuition. That's very feminine. And for me, it is about being true to my heart and my feeling nature, and that is divine feminine authority in my perspective. And other people I know, because a lot of people I coach, they're very logical. They want to do things with a level of logic. And that's where their authority is. Like, okay, I'm going to do this by the books. But you also have to combine the two. I'm stronger in the feminine, highly intuitive, but that doesn't mean I totally disregard my masculine self. I like having the consistency of and a practice with my dog, Apollo. I like that we have our structure and a rhythm, and we don't just go with the flow. I feel much more grounded not going with the flow all the time. I still use my intuition, but it doesn't mean that I don't like and don't use logic and rationale. I do. Like, getting to Italy, what am I going to be doing? Going back to school. I know what to do. I know what I'm doing. All these things are kind of like goals and visions, and those are part of my logical self that has written those out, that makes a plan about how to achieve things. You have to coordinate in order to go and live in a foreign country. You can't just show up and be like, hey, I'm here. Yeah, peace and love, man. I feel my feelings. Don't do that. Travel tip number 1, don't do that. Don't just show up at a country and be like, hey, I'm here. When you show up at a country, you need to have an intention about why you are there, and it better meet the standards of the border patrol of that country. Otherwise, you will get turned away. I've had that happen. That sucks. So yeah, don't be like all airy-fairy when you're entering into a new country. You need to know what you're doing there. You need to have your visa, and in order to get your visa, there are a series of steps you have to do in order to get your visa. So yeah, I have to be my intuitive self, but I also have to be logical. I need to be able to follow through, to make a plan and do things step by step. There's the masculine authority. All right. I think that's all I have to say for today. More will come, I'm sure. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'm wishing you lots of awakening to your feminine side, your intuition, and lots of confidence in your masculine side, your ability to have a vision, make a plan, and take logical steps, and to combine your logical steps with inspired action. All right, signing off. Bye for now.